Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network, the Women Are Worthy Show. We're going to be talking about light skin, dark skin. But first, let me introduce y'all to my fabulous ladies. We have Ms. Zena Castro. Hello, Ms. Zena.
Namaste, peace and blessings, everybody.
Yes. And we have the wonderful, the fabulous Joy Jones, hyphenated McNair.
Hello, hello, hello.
And of course, I'm the hostess with the mostest, Miss Beautiful Jacqueline Charles. I'm just so extra. Okay, y'all. We're going to talk about light skin versus dark skin. And I want to take you behind to tell you why I came up with this. I mentor a lot of young girls, and one in particular is having issues, and she's telling me she's having issues in her family because her mother prefers the light skinned kids over her, and she's dark complected, so she's having issues with this. Now we all know in the Black community we had this light skin, dark skin, good hair, bad hair. So I wanted to bring some ladies on so we can discuss this, because I thought, is this really something? Are we still going through this? I'm going to start off with you, Miss Joy. Do you think this is still going on? Do you have any experience with this? Because I want to see, just talk about it. Let's just keep it real. Or do you have any issues with this? Do you have any personal experience with this?
I myself have never experienced it. However, I have two children, which I've gone through it with my mother's. One of my children is lighter than the other. And when my daughter was born and she was darker than my son, she would say my dark skinned baby, as if my son was more beautiful than my daughter. So it was like there was a difference in the way she treated them at that moment. And then, of course, the workplace, I deal with it a lot because I have um, different spectrums of the color when it comes to African American. And I have one who says that, he's a house nigga because he's lighter or he's red, and the other people are maybe a little bit darker. So there is a difference. We experience it a lot. Some people think it's funny. I necessarily do not.
You know, when you said they called him that, so how did you feel when you heard that?
He called himself that. He says that he's a house nigga, that he doesn't belong in the sun. So it to me, I don't know how my other employees feel about that, but for me, um, sometimes it is taken as a joke, but it's a real thing. Some people take offense to that. So if we were not close knitted and we knew it as a joke, some people would take offense to it, because it is a colorism thing, and people take that very offensively.
So, as a leader, since you're the boss, as a leader, what are you doing? Are you going to allow him to continue to say that, or what is your stance on that?
We've actually had a conversation about it, and it hasn't been said anymore. Um, Again, I don't know how the other members of staff felt about it, um, but he is a red person, and he's in the office, and like I said, at one time it was an offense taken to it, so it's not said anymore, but you can tell that there is a difference in the staff.
Zena, you look like you were about to explode when that came out. How do you feel about that?
That's really unfortunate, because when we reflect back on history, right? In slavery, they were definitely divided, right? It was the house nigger, and it was also the field nigger, which I hate to use that term. And when you reference yourself as a house nigger, then basically what you're sitting there saying is that you're better than everyone else, right? Because somehow they were treated a little bit differently. But because of the darkness of your skin, whether you're light skin, whether you're dark skin or whatever, to the slave master, you were still that N-word, right? So for us to internalize and to take it on upon ourselves to reference ourselves in that manner, it's very disturbing because we've come a long way, right, from our forefathers and what our forefathers fought for. And now to still feel that we have to use those comments like that or names like that to describe ourselves is very disheartening because it affects all of us as a whole.
What are we going to do with our youngins? You know, and if you're out there watching, please comment. What are we going to do about our youngins? Because when my mentee asked me to do the show, and I said, well, and I asked her, you know, and please forgive me, but I said to her, I said, is this really a thing? And I wasn't trying to say her feelings or her perception wasn't worthy, but I'm just shocked right now. And it's more than I actually knew because she had me speak to some of her other friends who are dark complected that are in college, and they feel that way, whether it's sororities and things like that. So they're feeling that way. So I want to know, because these are young girls that's going to grow up to be older women. So how can we stop perpetuating this?
You know, it's a difficult task to take on because it's embedded in a lot of our history, in a lot of our families, where there was the concept of the brown paper bag, right? So if you were lighter than the bag, then you were fine, but if you were darker than the bag, you weren't okay. So it starts from education. But not only just educating our young people, but also educating our elders as well, as much as they're set in their own ways. Times have changed, right? As much as they've changed, there's still a lot of things that are still very much the same. But it starts with education, you know, and understanding that how those stereotypes affect the psyche of not only our young Black girls, but also our young Black boys as well, which is very, very important. You know, a lot of our young ladies are accelerating a lot more quickly and accelerating above and beyond what societal norms would expect them to rise to. And unfortunately, you know, our Black males are succumbing to a lot of things because of the whole fact that there's no value in the Black man, right? So it starts with education. It definitely starts with education.
It definitely starts with education. I'm going to go to Joy too. It starts with education, but here's the thing. Then it's not cool when you hear football players. I think they were somewhere in Florida, and there was a hot mic. And one of the football players said, you know, I need to make sure I marry a light-skinned girl because I want my baby to come out pretty with pretty hair and stuff like that. And this is just nuts to me that this day and age, we're still talking about it. My father was dating a woman, and she told me herself that, because my father's fair skinned, that she had to use the brown paper. That's the first time I heard about it. The brown paper bag to see if she could date my father, because her family's from Louisiana. And in her family, I mean, she was proud to tell me that they intermarried. And where they're from, that area where they're from, they do the intermarriage things because they didn't want to lose the color of their complexion. Okay. So when she told me that, and I'm like, are you serious? So when my father passed the brown paper bag. So of course I wouldn't pass it because, you know, I'm a dark complected person. And I remember one time she called me her dark chocolate baby. And I'm no dark chocolate baby. And she would make like reference to that. And I had to have a conversation with her because I'm like, what does that mean? Because it didn't sound complimentary to me, you know? And then she told me the whole history of her family. She did apologize, but to see that you could have a good dark-skinned man, but because he didn't pass that paper bag, you'd rather marry your cousin, your nephew, your uncle, you know. Joy, weigh in on this. I know, right? Let's just say they're not together no more. They're not together no more. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is a dark skin, light skin thing, but in the country they intertwine in marriages. But nevertheless, I think we as adults, or we as growing Black generation, need to encourage our young women to not accept when they say you're cute for a dark skinned girl, or you're cute for a Black girl. You know, no, I'm cute anyway. So when we when we educate, as you say, our young ladies to know that they are beautiful no matter what complexion, and just because we go in the store and they suggest you get a white Barbie doll because that's prettier than what you are, that's not necessarily the truth of the matter. But if you come out and you have conversations, or you have people who are already telling you that you're not that beautiful because of your complexion, that's the problem that we're having. But we have to, first of all, encourage our young people to know that no matter what complexion you are, you matter, and a lot of people don't matter. You know what I mean? So that's hurtful, and I see it all the time where young girls are in uh, certain areas of the city, and they feel like because this person is this color, that's why they're here. And that's not necessarily true.
And and here's the thing we need to touch upon, because look, y'all, I'm getting a migraine now just thinking about it, but got to bring it up, okay? If I see one more person on Instagram whose neck is black and the face is lighter because they've been bleaching, okay? It is wigging. My question is, as sisters, because if you notice, we're all three different complexions. Zena and I would say Joy, being the complexion that you are, do you feel yourself having any privilege or being of the complexion that you are?
I wouldn't say, listen, I wear my blackness as a badge of honor, right? Because God made me this way. Regardless of the fact whether you're light skinned, whether you can pass, if you can pass, then maybe perhaps you have it a little bit easier. But if there's any slight bit of color in your skin, we are all going through something. We can all relate to a situation where the microaggressions or the comments or, the looks that you get and things like that. So one is not to, I'm not going to discount what darker skinned sisters have gone through, because I can't relate to that because I'm not a darker skinned sister. But what I can say is that we can all sit down at a table and mutually share a story of different things that we experience because we're Black people, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, education, when you look at the media, like you said earlier, Jackie, the media always displays the blonde hair, blue eyed, the blonde hair, blue eyed woman, right? But that's not realistic, right? That's not realistic because that's not the only woman that's out there, right? I was reading an article and they were sitting there saying it was a survey, and it was about 100 men, and they had basically asked them as far as what did they find attractive in women, and which race of women did they find the most attractive. And unfortunately, they found that Black women were considered to be the least desirable women because they found either white women, Hispanic women, Asian women more attractive than any other woman. And that's unfortunate because when you think long and hard, if we knew our history, we have to understand that who were the first people to occupy the world, right? We have to also educate our children that we were kings and queens at one time. So, and we're still kings and queens in the present day, but because societal norms will have us believe that we're nothing, we accept it.